Hello, this tutorial is about present simple. Let's see what's important and what to do in present simple. First, we've got a short concept. Look at this timeline. We talk about present simple for constant events. Events for routines or facts that are 100% true. So, in short, we use it to talk about routines of every day or for facts, things that you and I know it's true. Okay, we know these things are true. For example, Peru is in South America, or we speak Spanish in Peru. Remember, two important things. A, routines, and B, facts, 100% true. Let's focus about routines. So, things we do every day. Watch TV, go to school, sleep at night. These are called routines. First of all, we say verbs or play, work, study, for example, and these are the verbs that we use for our routines. Now let's focus about the subjects. We've got I, you, we, and they for one group. And for the other group, which is very important and we must be careful, it's the singular subject group, or I call them the triangle group. On the top of this triangle, we'll see he, or Pedro, or my brother, my father. We have she, my mother, or Andrea, and it for animals and things. When we talk about these singular subjects, he, she, and it, the verbs will have an S to represent the singular subjects, not plural, singular. Okay, now some examples. Remember, the structure is for subjects, in this case I, plus the verb, in this case play, and the info at the end, basketball. I play basketball. This is my routine, my everyday routine. The structure is simple: subject, verb, information. This is present simple. When we talk about singular subjects for the triangle, he, she, or it, for example, Anna, we don't say play, we add the letter S to the verb. In this case, Anna plays basketball. So always pay attention to the subject. When it's singular, the verb will have a letter S representing the singular subject. And then we have the information. Okay. How about some examples with option B? Facts or things that are 100% true. Let's choose a subject in plural for this first example. Two countries, Peru and maybe USA. Okay, so we've got Peru and USA from the same continent. So Peru and USA have got American people, right? We are American people. Peru and USA have Americans. Subject is plural, the verb have, and the info Americans. Remember the pattern: subject, verb, information. For something that is true, it's a fact. 100% true. Another example can be another fact that is very common for today's life. Let's talk about pets. For example, dogs. What can I say about dogs? Well, dogs run fast, right? They move quickly. They run fast. This is a true fact, something that everybody accepts as it is 100% true. Dogs run fast. Present simple. Now, if we talk about something in singular, Remember the triangle, he, she, or it. Then the verb will go with an S. Country, Peru. Has, not have. I use the letter S because it's singular. Peru has got delicious food. I don't know, probably ceviche. So in the information, we've got delicious ceviche. This is a fact, 100% true. Peru has got ceviche. And again, to check that everything is correct, subject, verb plus singular, the S and the info. Okay, now we have the forms. In present simple and all the tenses, we've got 3 forms, which are positive, negative, and interrogative, or switching, changing places in the interrogative form. Let's try this sentence. We study English on Saturday, for example. We study English on Saturdays. Okay. This sentence, we can pass it to negative form by adding an auxiliary, something that can work as a helper. The word not? Not really. We need a combination of 2 words to make the auxiliary work in negative. We've got do not and then the verb study. So the sentence is, we do not study English on, let's say, Saturdays, for example. Remember, the negative of the verb is only formed by 2 words, or the auxiliary do and the not. We can use it together in a contraction form, and that is don't. We don't study English on Saturday. Talking about the question form or the switching, we change places. Now the subject we is not in first place. It will go to the second place. But the opening of the question, as we have in Spanish, and we know it's impossible to have it in English, but we can make a little arrangement. We have the word do. The auxiliary of the question is do. Do we study English on Saturday? And we close the question with the question mark. Remember, the opening of the question for all these plural subjects are we, you, and they, etc. We will always use do. What happens if we talk about subjects of the triangle? For example, he, she, or it. Again, 3 forms, positive, negative, and interrogative. The subject, for example, a man, John. I can say that John works in Lima. I need to make the emphasis that John is singular and the verb will have the addition of letter S. John works in Lima. When I change this sentence into negative, remember, I need to respect the rule of the S. It's not John don't, it's John doesn't. Why? Because John is part of the singular subject. He, in that case, we say doesn't. Okay? Never use don't. Don't is for I, you, we, and they. For singular subjects, for example, John, we say does not. If we use it together, doesn't. And then the verb work. Remember, the S is for the auxiliary, not for the verb, in this case, in negative. Okay, so it's John doesn't work in Lima. The S that was in the verb in the past, in the positive sentence, will move to the auxiliary, doesn't. Okay, talking about question form or interrogative form, John will go to the second place. And the opening question mark, it's no longer do, it's does, because John is a singular subject. And the question is, does John work in Lima? And I conclude the question with the closing question mark. I repeat, Does John work in Lima? These are the three forms for subjects that are of the group of the singular, the triangle, he, she, or it. To sum up, a quick review of the rules for present simple. I think there are in total 5, so let's focus on the five rules of present simple. Rule number 1. Present simple is for routines or facts, so always focus on those. If it's a routine or a fact, that is definitely present simple. Or in other cases, things that are always constant. We mentioned that in present simple. Second rule, identify the subject, especially the singular subjects, he, she, or it, because the verb will have a transformation. In positive sentence, the verb plus s, and in negative and interrogative forms, the auxiliary with s. Thus. Okay. Now, number 3. After you focus on the routines and then you identify the subject, you need auxiliaries, helpers, for interrogative and negative forms. And do and does will make you remember that the subjects that are singular, they need the s at the end of the auxiliary. So, the s in does represents the singular subject, never the plural. So don't get confused on that. Now, rule number 4. There is a formula for positive, negative, and interrogative sentences. The order is as follows. For subjects in plural, in subjects in singular is the same. Positive sentences, subject, verb, info. Negative sentences, subject, but the auxiliary not, don't or doesn't, depending, plus the verb and the info. And for questions, you start with do or does, depending on the subject, then verb and info. And finally, rule number 5 is for a rule, very important rule, to check when you have to work on grammar. This law is subject, verb, and info. If you finish your exercises in present simple, always check the law. It starts with the subject and the verb must have the s or not s, depending on the singular or plural subject, and then the info. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.